Hi, do you need a static website that is super fast and works great with SEO, but is still dynamic and looks and feels like an app? Here is a story from Dennis. Dennis is a web designer. He makes design for pages. He also does the HTML, CSS and is familiar with React and Angular. He wants to redesign his page. Before he had a simple page, but now he wants to upgrade it to a simple shop. He wants to sell design templates. He still wants his site to be static so it can load faster. And he heard from a friend that he could use Node.js with React to create static site. Some other friends recommended going with Gatsby. Which one should he use? In this video, you'll learn the difference between Gatsby and Next. So, what are the big differences? Gatsby pages are statically rendered and generated beforehand. But if you use Next.js, then the pages will be dynamically rendered. Next uses server-side rendering. Next.js server is running in the node. Let's see what is happening when we send a request to the server running Next. The server will accept the request, for example, for the page About. Then the server will go looking for the page called About. That page might fetch some data from the database or an API, so it will wait for the data and come back with the data. Then the server will render the data, turn it into HTML, JavaScript and CSS, and it will then send it out to the client. But when you use Gatsby, it's different. Gatsby is a static site generator. Well, we better say a smart site generator. It's still a React app, but works quite different. Gatsby is going to go ahead and make that page into a static HTML page beforehand. So Gatsby will fetch the data at compile time, that is before you deploy your website, or as a part of some deployment process. After compilation, you will have a folder called About and an index.html file in there. This will then be immediately served up to a browser. The page is loaded and then it loads the React part. Since the React part is the same as the static page, you will see no difference after the React is loaded. But the page starts working as a dynamic page, meaning you can have a dynamic content also. You can easily make a hybrid app. Apps that are partly static sites, generated beforehand, and partly dynamic pages that work as a React app, which is great for SEO. Gatsby will preload content that you need for SEO, and a dynamic part like comments or gadget will still work as a React app. Gatsby created pages still become a full React application. So in the case of Next, the data is being fetched every time, compiled to static pages and then served to the browser. Rendering in the Next is done with each request, while in Gatsby's case you only serve a static site that was rendered beforehand. Gatsby is also very opinionated about how things should be done, while Next is not opinionated on how to handle data. They do have their own lifecycle method. It's called getInitialProps, where the data is being called. But you can handle data in any way you want. While Gatsby lets you get data from anywhere, it could be a markdown, API, database, Wordpress. Gatsby uses plugins to pull in the data. Many source plugins already exist for pulling in the data from other APIs, CMSs, and databases. Each plugin fetches data from their source, meaning the file system source plugin knows how to fetch data from the file system, the WordPress plugin knows how to fetch data from the WordPress API, and so on. By including many source plugins and combine it all in one data layer. Then Gatsby makes it available to you via GraphQl API. When you are building pages, you query against GraphQL API. For example, a list of blog posts, products, the content of the post, and so on. So, at render time, it will make that GraphQL available to you and it will then render out those HTML pages for you. Gatsby wraps everything into a GraphQL. So Gatsby is very opinionated. All the sources on the page, from data, images and styles, need to go through Gatsby. Only then they are rendered in a static HTML page. But that is not a bad thing. It does much out of the box. Gatsby is more like a WordPress. It comes with a lot of plugins. while Next does not have plugins. With a plugin you can minimize images, compile JavaScript, minify it. For example, you can use a plugin for MailChimp, or add a Google Analytic, sitemap for SEO, and so on. A very useful one is for image preloading, which loads the images super fast from smaller to bigger. As said, Gatsby is more than a static site generator. Using Gatsby you want to build a React website or application, but you don't want to deal with the hard stuff that comes along when creating a React app. You don't want to handle routing or configuration or server-side rendering. So what would I recommend to Dennis? Well, yes, go with Gatsby. It will make your life easier. Let's go through the main differences together again. Gatsby is statically rendered and generated beforehand. But if we use the Next.js, then the pages will be dynamically rendered. All the data will be fetched with each request, while Gatsby only fetches data when rendering at compile time. One con with Gatsby is its complexity. Gatsby JS involves a lot of configuration and setup. You are learning something completely new. You are not just writing JavaScript as you do in the React and Node.js app. Don't get discouraged. For building websites, it is the best. Gatsby is more like a Wordpress, it comes with a lot of plugins. And Gatsby is really a React app. Gatsby will preload content that you need for SEO, and a dynamic part like comments and gadgets will still work as a React app. Gatsby created pages still become a full React application. A great course on Udemy that will teach you how to get the best out of Gatsby is the course from Tom Phillips. Title is Gatsby JS and Firebase. Build hybrid realtime plus static sites. I highly recommend this course. It has a high rating and Tom is friendly and responds fast. If you want to create a simple blog and you have no time to study React and GraphQL and Gatsby, you should check out Jekyll. I have a video that compares Jekyll with Gatsby. You are welcome to watch that video too. I'd also like to invite you to subscribe to my channel. I will be publishing new content every week. See you soon. Bye bye.